Hello, my name is Nicholl, and thank you so much for taking this time out to listen. Today, I titled this message, What About the Kids? What About the Kids? Now, if you are busy in your calling and you are doing much for the Lord, then most likely there are times when you tend to forget about the kids and others around you because you are just so focused. But this particular message isn't for those individuals who are already doing the things of the Lord and they have that work-life balance kind of taken care of, if there is such a thing. Okay. They pretty much have time for the children, time for the family, time for their personal activities. This message wouldn't be for you. But for those individuals who you know that you have a passion to do something, but you have yet to be 100% sold out on it, please do continue to listen. Because if you are somehow connected to children and you are watching them or caring for them or even teaching them and you're involved with much activity concerning children, then 9 times out of 10 you have said, when you were supposed to be doing something important related to your dream, your passion, your business, what have you, well, what about the children? What about the children? And the Lord says to you today, what about the children? When He puts something in our spirit, we are to go ahead and we are to do it. God will also put tools around us. He will raise people up to help us. He will also use different directories, resources, any number of things to get us to see that you need to contact this person, you need to be present for this event, you need to handle whatever you need to take care of. But the children for this particular situation are not the priority, but my will is. Okay? My will is. There's a lot of folks who will come up with the excuse, when it comes to children so that they don't have to pursue the things that they're supposed to pursue. It's very easy to tell someone, no, I don't need your help on this. No, I don't have time to make phone calls. No, I'm just going to take care of the kids, forget it, since you don't want to help me. It's very easy to do that instead of looking for alternatives. Okay. Because you see, part of this journey that we're on, sometimes children are going to have to be tucked away and put in their beds and an early bedtime. Good night. But I want to stay up. Good night. There are times where children are going to need to be dropped off with parents or grandparents or, someone who you trust, even though maybe you don't want to, but you might have to depending on what the situation is. Okay. People who are going through a divorce, they know exactly what I'm talking about because they're trying to get up out of a toxic relationship. So yes, for the moment, we're going to have to rely on someone. Okay. Others, they know what I'm talking about when it comes to business, whether it's a work at home business or outside of the home. Children are going to need to be put away for a little bit. Let's send them over to the after school program. Let's, allow them to have some fun over their friend's house. As long as we trust the parents, let someone who says, hey, I can take care of the kids while you're out. So be it, as long as you know that that person is someone who you have no problem with. Okay. But when God is moving on your spirit, He doesn't want us coming up with the excuse of, well, what about the children? And He's saying, well, I gave you this resource. I told you to talk with this person. I also said for a long time to set aside the money, not for children, but for whatever the business opportunity is or whatever the plan, what have you. Okay. I told you this. What were you doing? Well, what were you doing? Well, I bought some toys for the kids. Okay. And then I went shopping and I bought some clothes for them. And then I also paid for them to go to this event. And okay, so there's a long list, and that list says children this and children that. And oh yeah, by the way, I had to do this, I had to do that. Okay. There are those times where you have to scale back activities concerning children because they are conflicting with the job. The job doesn't want to hear, once again, that you've got to leave work to go to a baby's birthday party, or to a baby shower, or be there by, your loving sister's side who's trying to deliver a baby. I mean, are you delivering the baby for her? Well, no. Okay. Then maybe you might want to see the baby after he or she is born. Well, I just can't do that. Well, do you want your job? You see, and there are some people who are very, very passionate about children, to the point where if God tells them to move right, they would say, oh no, I'm going to move left for my children. I've got to do this for my children. And unfortunately, some of these people who are just so passionate like this when it comes to children also have some, unfortunately, very challenging relationships with their partners, because they're always defending the children, and the children said this and the children did this, and you're being too harsh, or you're being too this, that, and the other on the children, and I bought this and that, and it gets to be a bit too much. We have bills to pay, we have things that need to be taken care of. Why are we doing this? Why are we spending this type of money on extracurricular activities when we are trying to build a business together? Why are we spending so much money making sure that, Jane or Johnny is dressed in designer clothes when we don't even have designer clothes? Okay. I mean, we have to really, zero in on what God is showing us. Even if we can't hear from him, he is showing us some things. The fact that you're listening to this message, you can start thinking about some of the things that you're doing. Maybe you don't have the children, but you have the grandchildren, and you're spending a lot of time and a lot of money and a lot of everything else concerning them. You're kind of living your life through children or grandchildren. God will show you that too. I'm just so passionate for these kids. I just want them to be the best, and I'm going to do whatever it takes so that they will have a better life than mine. Okay, wow, that sounds good. But wait a minute. What about your debt? And what about the money that you owe so-and-so? Oh, yes. And also, that you have certain things that you want to accomplish. I mean, how long are we going to keep putting off what you're supposed to be doing for children? And then when you start thinking about some things, you start saying, oh, that's why I missed out on this opportunity, because, yeah, that's right. I was at my child's game, and I mean, there could have been some other folks there, but I just had to be that one that's dedicated and very loyal. And I remember when I was younger and nobody came to my games, and you give up a lot. And then after a while, what happens? Resentment starts coming into play. Now, I know some people, oh no, I'm not resentful, I'm not bitter, I'm not jealous or anything else of my children. You gave up a lot. And so there's the frustration that comes into play. That goes far beyond. It goes far beyond just, I want them to do well. But it becomes this drive where I want you to do well because I spent so much money, because I made sacrifices, because if only you knew, I just really didn't want you, but I had to because I didn't want the guilt complex of aborting you. And so, all of what I'm saying to you, and sometimes even the way, we talk, it can be so harsh and so cold, and the child starts to say, well, do you even want me now? I mean, I know you were in a tough spot back then, but do you even want me now? And then let's fast forward past the, newborn who's crying and getting on one's nerves and taking up so much money and so forth. But, I got to do this for the kids. I got to do this for the kids, with a scowl on your face, pushing your stroller, faster than you can walk, and practically running people over with it. Let's move past that. Let's move past toddler, years where the child is having these temper tantrums and everything. And you really don't want to smack them and you really don't want to take anything from them because you remember how it was when you were younger. But, so much that you gave up just to be at home with your child. Okay, let's fast forward. The child is a tween. And you are still telling your friends that you can't go out with them because you've got to be there for your tween who is a part of this activity and that one. And well, you know how it is. And so those friendships start to fade away. And now your child is a teen and you're talking about how much you have given and how much you continue to give. And now college is coming up or trade schools are coming up and I got to give to that. And I'm going to get another job because I know that I don't have enough money for all of the other debt that I acquired as a result of children. And I'm still not finished with school because of children. And I still am not where I'm supposed to be as far as my business goes because, well, those times where, I decided to be at home instead of working and, oh, come on now. Come on. Sometimes you got to tell on yourself, right? Sometimes you got to sit there and have that heart to heart with yourself. How much more do you have to give? Your child is already a teenager. But we're not done yet. Oh, no, because see, we got some more parents in the group who I don't have any of it, right? Oh, and they're so prideful. Don't you just love some parents? Maybe you're one of them that you sit back and you talk about how I don't have all of that anymore. Thank God my kids are grown. Yes, but aren't you putting money out for holidays? Some of you all, not all, because I know some parents, no, we're not doing any of it. So they're not even thinking about what all they gave up because they have always protected their property and their monies and their, shopping habits and everything. And I did the bare minimum. Okay, honey, because I wasn't about to be putting all that money out. Okay. We're not talking to those parents. We're talking about those parents and grandparents who are doing much. And they are sacrificing so much to the point where you're behind in your mortgage, or maybe it's not that bad. Maybe you just still have a lot of debt that you need to focus on. But you keep paying for this and you keep taking care of this child and you keep giving to this granddaughter or grandson. And, you're putting money away for this person and that one. And meanwhile, you don't even have stuff taken care of on your house. Meanwhile, you haven't traveled anywhere. Meanwhile, you haven't done anything for yourself. And so you're resenting everybody and everything. And now your relationship isn't all that great because you just suddenly one day had this aha moment and you didn't warn anybody and you pulled everything back. And now folks are saying, why is she so mean? Why is she so ugly? Why is he so, mad at me? I mean, really, I didn't ask to be here. You see, it happens. That sacrificing, that parental sacrificing, doing all of this for the kids, sooner or later, resentment, bitterness, and jealousy. And now God got that he has to deal with concerning you. Or maybe he doesn't because you didn't cast your burdens over to him. No, I can do all this on my own. I don't need Jesus. Besides, he failed me when I prayed not to have children. Did I just step on someone's toes? Run that by me again. He failed me when I told him I wasn't ready to have children. Oh, now we're getting into the thick of things. So all of this sacrificing and all of this resentment and anger towards children, and children can do just a little wrong and you freak out. Why? Because years ago, I wasn't ready for kids. I told the Lord I didn't want any kids. I wish that he hadn't done this. And I'm so sorry, children. So nobody's judging, right? Because guess what? A lot of us have been there, done it, seen the movie. I wrote When Mothers Cry. Okay? I have a blog that I've dedicated to mothers who they're fighting the good fight. Yes, they are, but they resent a lot of things. I tell you that how I got to this place of really trusting in the Lord and putting off the resentment and the bitterness and the jealousy and all of the sacrifices and so forth was I just started doing what I wanted to do finally. That's pretty much it. I'm not going to keep making all these sacrifices like this when I know that there's so many other things that I'm supposed to be doing and I have yet to do them. You know what? I'm going to put off some things concerning children. Okay, I'm going to do, of course, the basics, the bare essentials, but I'm going to have to start prioritizing my relationship with the Lord first and foremost, right? Because I know that He's the one that has the love, He has the peace, He has the patience, He has the happiness, He has all of that stuff, the joy, He has all of it. So if I want that and I want to be able to transfer that to the children, wouldn't it make sense to go to my Creator, okay, who was here long before I got here, whose word that's been translated and revised and everything else, but is still His word, was here long before I got here? Wouldn't I trust Him rather than trusting in a man who, today he might love you, but tomorrow he might be in the bed with somebody else? Wouldn't I trust God rather than a mother who, she got her issues, and she's not necessarily liking everything that's going on in her life? Wouldn't I trust in God rather than in aunts and sisters and, brothers and cousins and everybody else who, might love you and like you because you did for them. But then when you say no to them, because see, you got to make a sacrifice to help other folks out too. Now they don't particularly care for you so much. Okay. So, once you think about all of these things, it's like, all I got is God. All I got is God. And sometimes it kind of freaks you out a little bit, you see, because you got these unstable folks around you, or you're going into social circles where, hey, they don't know you, so they don't feel like they need to do too much for you. They're not going to, make necessary sacrifices and so forth for you. Right? So God, you need to direct me, help me, lead me somewhere where people don't mind helping a stranger on the street. Don't mind putting some money in someone's pocket so that they can get bills paid in order to do your will. Come on. And you get some of these individuals, see, that you surround yourself with who will encourage dysfunction, who will encourage, depression and sadness. And yes, honey, I had to give up so much for my kids too. High five on that. And then they don't even appreciate all of what I do. And then somebody else, oh yes, let me tell you, I had to take out loans in order for my children to go to college. They got their degrees and then they come out of school and then they're acting as if they don't even know me. Okay. And then my name is messed up because they didn't keep up on their payments. And the co-signing that I had to do. It's just so much, you see. But what do you want? What is it that the Lord has put in your spirit? Well, I really don't know because I've spent all these years dealing with children. I do not know. You see? So this is one of those messages for some of you women who keep dragging your feet when it comes to getting some things accomplished. I'm here to tell you that there is nothing wrong with cutting back on all of the extracurricular activities. A lot of times children are saying, I'm tired of this and I want to do something else. And meanwhile, what are parents doing? Being cheerleaders. Come on, go out there. No, the next time a child says they don't want to do it, make a beeline over there to the coach or whoever is organizing it and say, oh no, my child said that they're not interested. Oh no, but it's a good no. Okay, he said he's not interested, honey. So you know what we need to do. Remember that business that we were talking about? Look, we've got to get some things accomplished now because later on, there's going to be future expenses concerning Harry, concerning Janie, concerning Bobby. It's just going to be more. Okay, so we need to start doing something right now. You see? Like I said, this message is for those that have sacrificed to the point where they are bitter, jealous, angry. They're even taking it out on their kids. I remember a grown daughter who for years, her father was saying he was going to do this, he was going to do that to help out, her, as well as all of her other siblings. And then when it was getting closer and closer to his grave, he started reneging on everything that he said. And so he started becoming very angry with the children because I guess he felt that he still had some things that needed to be accomplished, right? Well, she says that one day she approached her father, grown woman now, approached her father and said, keep it. You know what? Just keep it. You know, keep the land, keep whatever, you know, that you said you were going to give us. Just keep it. Because he had drove them so mad with all of this, the older children, with all of this, I'm going to give you, no, I'm not. I'm going to give you, no, I'm not. You see, because he was going in and out of that whole thing of, I did this, but then they want this from me. And there's things I want to accomplish. And, but eventually he died. And so the children ended up getting their promised, lands and goods and so forth. But you see how it can even show up later in life. You may have it all under control, at least so you think at this age. Well, he's only 5, or she's only 16, or, well, my son, he's only 18. But then when he's 20 or 30 plus, and it comes back around again, that conversation of what all, Mom, you said you were going to do for me. And you might still have some stuff that you want to accomplish. You're going to become angry. You're going to say, oh, now you want to take my blood too, huh? You want to take my blood too. Freaking out. After all I did for you. And now you got the nerve to come and ask me for just one more thing. You see? And you can bypass all of that by just scaling back on all of what you're doing now. It's better that they have the temper tantrums and the upset when they're younger, because then you still got some time, to make up for some things later on. Hopefully, God willing. Hallelujah and praise the Lord. But, just becoming so bitter and angry and resentful and treating children ugly because you didn't really want them from the start and never quite got over that. Or they were an inconvenience, or they didn't turn out to be what you thought they should have been. Meanwhile, projecting your own dreams and goals and things onto them because you didn't accomplish them. I mean, really, and then trying to justify all of that, before some psychologist or some counselor or even, a relative that's just trying to speak wisdom to you. You look very silly. Stop justifying all of this and just look at the fact that you, number one, need to stop having these children be caught up in so many different things. Okay. Whatever they are that require money. All right. Number 2 is stop encouraging them to buy things or to get things that you're going to have to help them on. Okay. When you know that you got other things that you want to accomplish. Number 3 is, explain to your partner, whoever is helping you raise the children, that, money's got to be redirected elsewhere. We cannot continue to be, given to the toy campaign, okay, to the, school events, to Johnny's scholarship or college program or whatever else you got going on when you still got all this debt that you and your partner's arguing about, okay? Number 4 is, or I don't know, I'm losing track, but, this is a point that you definitely need to consider, is that when all of the children's stuff is creating a hostile environment, okay, that is a clear indication that some things need to change. It's not a matter of when and if, they need to change right now. Right now. So whatever area in your life that you can start working on, where children are connected, do it. Especially if you want to keep a marriage. Because, I hate to admit this, but children will add to all of the relationship stuff and will also help some folks go to the divorce court a little sooner rather than later. And that's the truth. Children, no bedtime, a man just gets off of work or a woman just gets off of work and the kids are running around. Folks get tired of that. There should be some type of organization going on, whether it is with children or grandchildren. There needs to be a set time for bedtime, for dinner, for lunch, for breakfast, all of that. People going in and out of the refrigerator. Okay, how come there wasn't any food made so that the kids aren't going in and out of the refrigerator? You see, folks are going to complain. Kids are, not cleaning up after themselves. Why is it that children are not cleaning up after themselves when they're old enough to do that? Okay, that encouraging laziness. Oh, I'll just do it. I'll just do it. That's what you're doing. When you're always saying that you're going to do something, you're encouraging laziness. Because guess what? As a child, I'm going to sit back and I'm going to say, okay, fine. Because I know my mom's going to clean it up. I know my dad's going to clean it up. Why should I? Giving them responsibilities. That you need time to read because, you are in school right now. You're trying to study for some exams or what have you. What's wrong with them, amusing themselves for a while or allowing them to go with their friends, if you, of course, trust, who they're going with instead of trying to take control over every itty bitty thing. And a lot of times these people who are having a lot of issues like this, they tend to be very controlling. They got to control every aspect, so it's not an issue of children running amok with some folks or, their extracurricular activities dominating everything. But it's just some folks, they are so structured, so controlled about everything to the point where it causes havoc in the family. You see, oh, it's 5 minutes past. Hurry up. Take care of this. Do this right now, And then everybody is running around, like a chicken with their head cut off. So isn't there something that you're supposed to be doing? Value your time with God. Praying, meditating, fasting, reading His Word, attending a church service, sometimes without children. There's nothing wrong with that. Or finding a church where they have a program for children so that you can have some quality time with the Lord in adult service. So these are all things to consider. I thank you so much as always for taking the time out to listen. Please do check the description box for anything related to your situation, and to God be the glory.